Welcome to another episode of Bucket List Coach Web Show. Well, hello. This is Cindy, your host over at Bucket List Coach Web Show Live. Make sure that you follow me on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. And of course, go to Bucket List Coach Web Show Live. You're going to subscribe on this very video and you're going to comment when you share it to Facebook or LinkedIn. I actually will gift you a 5-night hotel stay. If you'd like to comment today, please go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. That way, both of the platforms marry. A little bit about the show. This show is all about making the most of the dash, and I'm going to introduce you to my guests here shortly. So, what is the dash? It's the day, it's the time from when you're born until you pass away. What are you doing making the most of the dash? And of course, this podcast is also inspired by Anthony Bourdain. He was a chef for several years, just like me, and now into travel. And of course, a big plug to National Day Calendar. It is Cyber Monday, so go out there and stimulate the economy and support small business. And definitely check out National Day Calendar on all the social networks. So today I have my friend Frank. How are you doing, Spy Man?
How are you? I'm doing great. Thank you.
I am going to play the video, so just hold tight.
Okay.
I'm going to send you up against the best. Yes, sir. You two characters are going to Top Gun. I feel the need
for speed. Woo!
For 5 weeks, you're going to fly against the best fighter pilots in the world. You guys really are cowboys.
I'm an instructor at this school. I see 20 new hot shots every 8 weeks.
I don't like you because you're unsafe.
That's right.
I am dangerous.
Dangerous, baby.
Wild card. Flies by the seat of his pants. I guess when I see something, I go right after it.
It takes a lot more than just fancy flying.
Dumb in this school is without combat. There are no points for second place. Figured it out yet? What's that? Who's the best pilot? No, I think I can figure that one out on my own.
Woo!
Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis, Top Gun.
Well, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
So let's talk Top Gun. So what was your part of Top Gun?
I was Tom's bodyguard. I was to ensure that he was able to concentrate on the set without interference from the public.
So let's talk all about the movie. What are some of your favorite scenes besides the opening one?
Oh, yeah, I like the shooters. The shooters are something I learned early on the show while we were filming it. Is there was a lot of people besides the pilots that actually are part of this family that take care of the aircraft, the mechanics, the painters. When the MiGs were painted, it was Saturday afternoon. We got done finished shooting, and Monday morning we came, they were all black and decaled out.
Oh, we got a little bit of a pause here. Oh, some internet issues today. Wait, you paused for a bit. We're having some internet issues today. Frank, did you want to pop out and then come back in, Frank? Because I'm getting a pause right now. So just pardon the mess right now, guys. So we're just having a slight internet issue. So just waiting for
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. We're
I'm
back.
back. Can you see me? Okay.
Yes, I can see you fine.
Yeah. This don't feel bad because Val and I just went through this back in October, and so the internet's a fun place to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, we learned a lot that you have to trust your mechanics, you have to trust your airmen, and the shooters are the guys that are on the aircraft carrier that have a extremely cool job. Um, where they maintain safety for all, and the pilots they get to fly, and it was pretty interesting to see how all this comes together. There's a lot that you just don't see in the movie and realize.
Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me? I see it.
Yeah,
I
it
haven't.
keeps on going in and out. Yeah, it's just what you expect when you're going live. So let's
Yes.
talk about some other scenes that you really enjoyed. Oh, we're frozen a little. So if you're just tuning in, I'm here with Frank. We're talking Top Gun. Oh, there we go. Are you back?
Yes. I'm I'm gonna try you off of my phone and get off of the office. Um, it could be on my side. Um,
Okay. You want to
if
log
you
out and then log back in through your cell phone? I'm going to try to open up another page. So we're just going to hold off a bit while he logs in with his cell phone. I'm going to open up that other page too.
criminy. 6 hours. We'll close.
It's getting pretty late for Michael. I wonder if he's going to tune in today.
Yeah.
Well, you sound okay
Okay.
now.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I can't find the other email link on my phone.
Here, I can send it to you right now. Do you want me to send it to
Yeah,
you?
send it just in case in case it's a backup.
On Messenger. Frank. Let's see. Chances. Okay, there you go.
All right. Well, we'll
Just
stay
click
on this. If I
Messenger, you
lose,
should be able to click it.
yes, I see it.
You're going to
Yeah,
have to
so
log off the computer, otherwise there's feedback.
oh, all right. Do you want me to log in now or let this run and see if it stays?
Yeah, you're going to have to log out of this one. Just hit the X at the top of the little square and then go to the Facebook Messenger and click from your phone instead of your computer.
Great.
So Frank will be right back. We're talking about Top Gun today. He was the bodyguard for Tom Cruise. So I bet everyone is excited about the next Top Gun movie coming next year. Super, super stoked. So we have an upcoming event. I'll show you that while he comes in. Top Gun reunion, save the date. So you definitely need to be a part of that next year. It's great for your San Diego bucket list. Earlier today, I had Cindy and Martin. They're the owners of the Top Gun bar. So a lot of really great things they got going on down there for your list. Great food, and then you could walk a short 2 blocks over to the Midway, do a tour there. Really, really amazing. So I'm going to pop this back on so we could look at that until Frank gets back on. So this is the save the date. It's coming up May 14th and 15th. So we're going to spend some time at the museum. We'll be at the Top Gun bar, as well as locations of the movie. Let's see if Frank is getting back on there. So we're just going to have this open for a bit until he comes back on. Hello, Melissa. Thank you for being here. There will be several people there. I don't believe Tom Cruise will be there, but I can get you some names of who's going to be there. I believe California Tom Cruise will be there, though.
There we go. I am
There
back.
we go.
Hi. Sorry about that, guys.
No worries at all. So if anybody wants to comment, you have to make sure to go to streamyard.com/Facebook. Otherwise, the comment is just going to say Facebook user. So we have someone saying hello. You just have to go to that website first in order for the Facebook and StreamYard to marry. So let's continue on. So what are some other shots that you want to talk about?
Let's see. There's some really good ones. We have the hangar at Miramar, the opening scene where Charlie is introduced to the new Top Gun Squadron guys. And there was several takes, and one of the early on takes when Maverick and Goose are talking about being inverted and how close they were. That line from Val, it was ad-libbed, and I came out, and it was such a shock on the two cameras, camera A and B, that were shooting it, that they decided to roll with that one and take it. That was a pretty cool time. And I guess jumping ahead to the gimbal, there was a lot of the gimbal is where they have the F-14 cockpit on a rotating platform, and so they did all the close-ups there. And yes, there she is. And so they just basically took the front end of that thing and put it on a set of springs and around. So they could turn them up and down. Yeah, so the grips got to rotate the boys around. And during this time, it was just banter back and forth. We actually talked about what we were going to eat for lunch. The boys talked about what car rental that they want, because we moved from Miramar up to Burbank. And so for the Miramar scenes, Tom decided that he wanted a Jeep. Most of the boys had, just a nice CJ5 Jeep without a top on. It was summertime. It was cool, and that was the thing. But once they got into the gimbal up in Burbank, that's where the speed of the film started to come out. And Tom personally felt that he wanted a Corvette, and so the boys got Corvettes, and it was fun. And I think that was also inspired because a couple of the actual Top Gun pilots had shiny red Corvettes, and they like speed. So I think that's where all that came from. But it wasn't until when we got into post that we realized that some of the statements that you hear, like when Goose is talking to Mav about bringing him in closer, or Maverick is saying that I'm subsonic and I'm about 30 seconds away, none of that was actually written in until we got into post. And then they invited John Simpson and Jambo up to watch some editing, and they both look at each other and they say, "We don't talk like that." And so then Tony Scott kind of got them together and they put a tape recorder in front of them and let them watch the editing scenes and let them put in what you would actually say. And so that's how we get some of the dynamic and really cool phrases in the dogfighting scenes.
So what else would you like to talk about today? You want to talk about our party coming up in May?
Oh yes, we have a Top Gun party. It's the I believe it's the 13th, 14th, and 15th. If you go to Top Gun Movie Fans page on Facebook, you will find a link that connects you to that event, and it is going to be magnificent. We have a tour bus that will accommodate everybody, and we will go to the 5 or 6 locations in San Diego that are still existing. We are going to the famous Laurel Street, where Maverick is chasing Charlie in the Porsche, and they come flying up Laurel Street and catch some air. And then we will be visiting Liberty Station, which is former naval station or Naval Training Station, San Diego. That is really cool because most of the buildings are still there. Unfortunately, the restroom is not there anymore. That's actually a vacant lot. However, we will be inside one of the buildings, and we're going to have the executive producer, Mr. Bill Badalato, Billy Badalato, his son, who was Don Simpson's assistant. He was we were all young men, but we were all in our 20s, except for Mr. Bill, who was a little older than some of us. But we're going to have people from all over the world come to this thing. We have some people from Spain, a couple people from France, the United Kingdom, a person from Australia, and then everybody from California. And it's going to be an amazing time. And then we're going to wrap that up with a tour on Sunday at the USS Midway. And one of our members, Paul, will be guiding us throughout the boat and showing us the cool different things. There is an F-14 that you can stand in front of, and then there's an F-14 cockpit that you can take a picture inside. So that's as close as you can get into the actual F-14. It's pretty cool.
So look who we have on the screen there, the real Viper. Woohoo!
Yes, that's Pete Pettigrew. And oh, that's me too. Wow, look at that. Yes.
You got your flight suit on, your flight jacket on.
Yes, and let me explain that. So that is the actual jacket that belonged to Pete Pettigrew, the actual Viper. And Pete was a transitional pilot from the F-4s into the F-14s at the end of Vietnam into the 70s when they transitioned into the F-14. And Pete was one of the I guess the plank owners, I think is what the proper term is. He was one of the original Top Gun pilots when the Navy realized they needed to learn how to fly faster and better than the MiGs. And so when this movie came up, he was contracted as our liaison officer, not a liaison officer, our consultant. And he gave that jacket to production to give to Tom Skerritt to wear. And at the end of the movie, I got it, and I've cherished that ever since because it was from the real Viper, and then the character Viper wore it, and it's a pretty cool item there. And Pete and I got to reminisce over the good old days and how amazing that what we worked on 35 years ago has become such an iconic movie.
Now we have Bio. Let's talk about Bio. He's going to be there in May, I believe, as well.
Yes. And we're going to have, schedules permitting, we will have John Simpson, who was the lieutenant on the film, and Jambo, and Dave Barnick, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, that's his. And so there's a group of books, and Bio's book is there, and I hope that he joins us for the book signing. And then, whose book is that one, Cindy? Is that Dave's?
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yes.
autographs. Look at that.
Wow. That was when we did Top Gun Nights on the Midway a month ago. It was amazing the different Tomcat books that they brought up for Pete Pettigrew to sign. And Pete's been around for a long time, and he's seen most of the books. One book he had never seen before, and he spent quite a bit of time talking to the guy that brought it down from Washington State. And it was a very interesting take on the Tomcats and the use in the Navy and how fast they were. And that's one of the things that I learned about just a few months ago, talking at Kansas City Barbecue with Jambo and John Simpson, that if you were going to go into battle today, would you take the F-18 Super Hornet, or would you fly the F-14? And they looked at each other, and it wasn't pretty much hesitation. Now, they're both F-14 pilots, but they said they would go totally with the F-14. The way that it's designed, it's a two-person aircraft, and the workload is divided. And the technology that they had at that time was just balls to the walls. It's unsurpassed. And I think this is why one of the reasons that you can't sell it or have any of the parts is that it's still a superb aircraft. And they would go into battle. They said, if I asked them, would you go into war with this one or the F-18? And they said that F-14.
F-14.
Yes. So it's
so I have a question. Do you see the question from Melissa? What are you doing now?
What do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so after 25 years of being in the film business, I worked on Top Gun was my very first movie in 1985, and then I went to The Flight of the Intruder, Heartbreak Ridge, the Hunt for Red October, and on and on and on. And I got hooked up with Tom through William Morris Agency, and I had a talent of getting difficult actors to the set on time. So that kind of went as glorified bodyguard to a babysitter, a guy that protects all interest. And I did this for 22 years, and then went part-time for Veronica Mars here in San Diego. I came back to San Diego, opened up a security company, and with Paris Hilton was the last that I decided at that time it's time to retire.
So let's talk all about the restaurant.
Oh, yes. So Kansas City Barbecue, there you go. And yes, and Cindy and Martin, lovely people. And you know what? It's great barbecue. Don't go ask for a burger. Yes, you will be chastised. I have made the mistake of asking for a burger because it's easy. I know I can digest it very well. And so it's just common for me to say, hey, I would like a cheeseburger, please. No, it's barbecue food, and it is fantastic. In fact, my wife and I were on date night the other night. It was about 9:15. We decide, you know what? We want something now to eat. Let's go get a pulled pork sandwich, and that's where we went.
Wow.
Basically, we were looking at a CD bar, and this is how it's called in the script. It's called a CD bar scene. And so we're looking for a CD bar, and they found a place up in Del Mar area and decided that's where they want to shoot it. Well, my locations was downtown scouting G Street Pier area, which is where the Midway is. And I was told the correct. It's not docked. Docked is wrong. It's boarded. I don't remember the term. Anyhow, that's where the Midway is. But G Street Pier ran down that area, and one of the crew members stopped in for some barbecue. Instantly reported back the next morning. Locations went back there and said, "This is the place." Tony made a trip out there and said, "Yeah, not only is this the place, but the producers and Tony and a couple of location guys had lunch there and decided that this is what we need." It had the flavor. It's pretty well much exactly the same as it was 35, 36 years ago. And the atmosphere is the same. The piano is still there, although it has some water damage, and we're looking for a piano player or a piano repairman to take a look at it. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot to go on about the piano. There is no manufacturer name or label that we've been able to discover inside it. So we need someone that's versed in piano business. And I'm pretty sure that there will be a listener out there sooner or later that knows exactly what he's doing and will be able to restore that. But Goose, Anthony Edwards, he actually did fool on that piano and was able to play some things. And I remember the rest of us were all, goofing around playing chopsticks because most of us knew how to do that.
Yeah, and I'm actually trying to work through my Rolodex to see if I could find someone there in San Diego to set Cindy up with to fix that piano because it got damaged in the fire a couple years back.
Yes, and that's the remarkable story, is that they had a kitchen fire that was devastating, obviously, to the kitchen area and the side wall where there was a lot of memorabilia of Top Gun. And as quickly as Cindy and Martin and the management team got down there, they literally grabbed the piano and dragged it out so that the fire hoses wouldn't damage it any further. And it has a deep sentimental value to Cindy. It was her mother's piano, but to the Top Gun fans, it's the iconic theme piano that Goose was playing. And so worldwide, it has meaning to all of us. And that's why we're trying to find somebody to fix that.
So I'm trying to find some more pictures here. Here's this one here. Get back on here. Oh, this is on eater.com. Let's see. So you were there for that famous scene with the twins?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. So the twins, we had Tina Real Casting Agency here in San Diego. And remarkably, I talked to her a few weeks back. She's still here with us, and her memory is sharp as a whip. And Paramount reached out to her and had all the background casting. And they said, first of all, they said, we need a stand-in for Tom, and we need a stand-in for Kelly and the other actors, Val and Anthony. And so they got, she provided the stand-ins, Jeff Mo, Maverick's stand-in, and he was a spitting image of Tom back then. Very handsome, very, yes, looked just like him. And then they decided to ask Tina to provide a set of children for Goose's kid. And she said, I happen to have a set of twins that would fit this so that we can work them, and then one can go to school and one can be on set. So during the scenes, we were able to complete a complete day of work without violating, child work laws and stressing out the kids. So it was very interesting that Tina was able to get a set of twins, and they were adorable. And I, I understand they live in North County, San Diego, is what I was told.
Oh, really? Wow. You ready for the video?
Yes.
Okay, let's play this really quick. It's only 26 seconds.
Always go home with the hot women.
All right, thank you, Carol. I'm gonna go embarrass myself with Goose for a while. You see my nerves and you rattle my brains. You got your love, drives a man insane. You break my will, oh what a thrill. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire.
I would love to be able to work. You always go home with the hot women.
Pretty cool. Remember that?
Yes, that was such a fun day. When Meg Ryan came on set, first of all, we had a whole bunch of boys, and we're all in our like 23, 24, 25, I think was the oldest. And there's a lot of testosterone on that set. Then you have the Navy pilots, and they were all, I think John Simpson was the oldest, and he was 28. And as I look back on it now at 60, I say that we were all 12 years old. And, yeah, you know, some of the Top Gun pilots actually like, no, I was 28. But we looked like we were 12. Anyhow, when Meg Ryan came on set, she balanced out Kelly McGillis's character, Charlie. Charlie came with, she always had a smile on the face. And, you know, she was part of the team where everybody, you know, collaborated and hung out. And we listened to different music and new things. That there was a Tower Records right across the street from the production offices. And so on Sunday, everybody went there and got music. It was a big thing, cassettes of the 80s at Tower Records. And so Kelly was, you know, she felt at home being surrounded by a whole bunch of boys. And there weren't a lot of female Navy personnel at that time. And I think that her role inspired a lot of females today, and even then in the 80s, to join the you know, the military, whether it's the Air Force or not. It really inspired a lot of and opened doors. The Navy's attitude at that time was that females couldn't be pilots, and definitely not fighter pilots, and it's changed. And I think that's really cool now that they can, because if you're a pilot and you can fly good, then it doesn't matter what gender you are.
And I think that changed in the 90s, didn't it? Like mid 90s, I believe that's when females could be aviators.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it takes a little bit of talent and an awful lot of skill. And if you got those, you know, do it. And it's definitely cool. I know a lot of pilots that are female. Patrick Swayze's wife, Lisa. I remember we went away on a movie for 3 months, and we came back, and she had secretly gotten her pilot's license. And when I dropped him off at home, she was so proud. She's showing him her pilot's license, and she goes, "Look what I got." So it's very inspiring for anybody to get their license, to actually fly. It's a completely different world up there. It's at peace.
Wow.
And different actors that I've worked for all fly. And Patrick Swayze told me it was one of the few moments in his life where he actually found total peace, total tranquility in his life, because you are literally floating in air.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say, because, you know, I've skydived, I've surfed. Why would you surf? That's scary. Why would you skydive? Why would you jump out of a perfectly good airplane? Because it's bliss. I mean, just like when you surf, like when you first do it and when you first stand up, the very first time I stood up actually was this past July. I've had 2 lessons. I'm working on my 3rd for next year. And standing up is just like jumping out of that airplane. It's that bliss. And then 2 weeks after you do that, you can do anything. You're like power. Yeah, it's so
Yes.
amazing. I can't even imagine what it would feel like to be a pilot. That would be so cool.
Yes, it is. And skydiving, I've done that a couple times. We did that on Top Gun, and that was the first time that I learned that we talked earlier about protecting. Some of the things that you have to do is protect the actor against bad decisions. And skydiving, if you don't, if something goes wrong, you put the movie on hold. And so it was the first of many times that I was brought into the production office to give rules about protecting my actors.
Wow.
But what a rush! Oh my gosh!
Oh my, we
You
need to
jump
do
out of the
that in
plane.
May. I'm just saying we got to do that in May, because Skydive San Diego isn't that far. It's in the OTA.
No,
Yeah,
no.
so we should get a few of us together. I'm game. Are you game?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
well, get this, the owner of Skydive San Diego, he was on my show about 4 or 5 months ago. He's afraid of heights, and he has his own drop zone. And he was a Navy
Wow.
SEAL. Yeah. So how about
Wow.
that?
You know, there's something the first 2 seconds. So I was part of a large animal tech rescue team for many years here in San Diego, and so part of the technical training is that you have to rappel 350 feet. And so we have a few places that have a span of that. And I tell you that the first 2 seconds of climbing over the edge and then putting the weight on the rope, and then you just do a free fall. Yeah, it's a little scary, but after you start going, that rush comes and it's fun.
Did you do the twirly?
Who?
I wasn't ready on my first. Well, the next skydive, I'll do that where they spin you. But yeah, I just said, no. I just want to do a standard skydive. Nothing fancy today.
Just jump out. I would like to, well, that's for another story. We'll go to that one. Let's stay with Top Gun on this podcast.
Yes.
There were really cool moments where the team. So, like I said, the crew, they work together very well. The actors work with the crew. The actors worked and interacted with the Navy personnel. And Maverick's character, he was like, Tom Cruise was like a sponge. He would talk to every naval aviator and ask specific questions, and then learned how they moved, how they walked, how they talked. And they have their own language, and they're like Italians. They talk with their hands. And so Tom was very focused on that. And part of the process of being able to take the actual flight in the F-14 was to go through a small boot camp of sea and air rescue training, where on Sundays we went to Miramar and trained in the pool with a cockpit, and they dump you in, and then there's some parachute work in the water, and there was some G training, so gravity training, and that prepared them for their 55-minute hop in the F-14. And we became pretty close with a couple of the Navy search and rescue divers. And when we went and did the water work, where Goose's death scene was off the coast of Point Loma, and we used a big giant tug. It was called the War Cloud, and they had put the built a dock off the back of the boat and put the cameras on the back of that, and then they had used a mannequin that looked very similar to Goose, and tripped it out over the parachute canopy over the water, and within seconds that didn't work out too well. And so then they decided to have Goose and Maverick together in the water, and well, prior to that, the mannequin and it went down and was caught in the parachute with Tom. And within it didn't seem that very long. I would say within 30 seconds, the Navy divers were already off the side of the boat and then off the back of the camera dock and in the water and doing what they do best. They rescued him. They cut the cords and pulled Tom up and put him on the boat. And he took about a 15-20 minute break. You could see there's a picture out there, and it shows him waterlogged and he looks pretty weary. And it's just because he literally was. I mean, he was underwater for quite some time, and it took a small break and then went right back to work. And that's how focused I can tell people about Tom and how he is on movies. He's just completely focused. He signs a contract and he puts everything into 110%.
Wow. Did you have any more stories before we close out?
No, I will save a few for the next podcast because I've got a couple of really good ones.
Oh, good. That means people had to subscribe, tune in, and come back. That's awesome.
Yes. And I will make it worth their time. I actually have some really good stories, and hopefully my partner and friend Billy Badalato, who was Don Simpson's assistant, which is a remarkable story on how he took care of Don and interacted with the Navy. It was an incredible thing. And so Billy's got a lot of really good stories, and we can share those on the next podcast.
That is awesome. So any shout outs before I put you back in the green room?
No, not one question. I know there's one.
Oh, there was
Everybody wants to know what was written on the note that Maverick gave to Kelly or to Charlie that morning when it was folded up in a little plane. What was on it? So we will hold that because we will.
Aha. Cliffhanger.
Yes.
So any shout outs? We'd like to shout out to Paul, also Michael with Top Gun fans, and of course, Cindy and Martin. Anything you want to say about them three?
Oh, God, they're just wonderful people. If you get to San Diego, Paul Ward docent at the USS Midway. You want a spectacular tour? See him. All the docents are really good, but Paul is fantastic and very knowledgeable. He also knows an awful lot about the Top Gun movie and can help you recreate the famous ass chewing from the CO of the boat when Maverick Goose gets sent to Miramar. And so there's a quarters that you can reenact that at. I also shout out to Michael Sheriff in Top Gun movie fans. That guy is incredible. And then for all those who are looking for their patches or movie props, Matt Lawlor at Top Gun Props and Costumes Facebook page. That guy is spot on. He can tell you whether it's real or a replica.
Yeah, mine's not real, but it looks real. And I got my jacket today. Too.
That's it.
So a shout out to the restaurant one more time and we'll close out.
Cindy and Martin, Kansas City Barbecue. You cannot go wrong. It's a great atmosphere and it's great food. And it's right down there at, I believe it's 600 Market Street. And it's the corner of Pacific Highway and Market down there in San Diego.
The brisket and the coleslaw, make sure you try that. It is a different coleslaw than what you're used to, and it is so amazing. It's my favorite coleslaw, actually.
Absolutely. I agree.
Okay, I'm going to pop you in the green room if you hang tight for 1 minute before I close out, and then we'll chat a few.
You bet. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Wow. Oh, such a pleasure to have Frank on. And just stay tuned. He's going to be coming on once a month for the next 4 or 5 months to promote this upcoming event that we're doing in May. And always tune in to Bucket List Coach Web Show Live, where normally every Wednesday at 1, 2, and 3 o'clock Pacific. But today we have a special episode, being that it's the end of the month and we're still celebrating the next 2 days with National Aviation History Month. This is Cindy, and I'll see you on the next show. Shaka.